I worked in customer service at a call center for 6 years, and my life was miserable there. Every single day, I had to be polite through a headset with people screaming at me about problems I didn't create. I had to smile at coworkers I didn't like and who definitely didn't like me back, and we all just pretended. It was a toxic environment that I'd sit in that gray cubicle for 8 hours answering the same robotic questions, following the same scripts, hitting the same quotas. Then I'd drive home at night feeling completely consumed, drained, like someone had scooped out everything inside me and left a shell. I couldn't stop my raging thoughts. What the hell am I doing with my life? Nope, I can't do this anymore. So I quit, just like that. Walked in the next morning, handed in my resignation, and left. And for the first time in my adult life, I had no backup plan, no good savings cushion, no I'll figure it out speech prepared, just done. And that terrified me. Let me back up. I spent 6 years at that company. 6 years climbing, performing, optimizing myself into someone I thought I was supposed to be. And it worked. I got promotions, got raises, got recognition. On paper, I was winning. But something had been eating at me for months. This quiet voice that kept asking, is this it? Is this what my whole life becomes? Just performing a suffocating routine until I die? I ignored it. Told myself I was being dramatic, ungrateful, that I should be happy I had a good job when so many people were struggling. But the voice got louder. Until one Tuesday afternoon, sitting in a meeting that didn't matter, listening to people discuss things I didn't care about, something in me just broke. I stood up, said I needed some air, walked out of the building, got in my car, and never went back. The thing nobody tells you about quitting something that's been your whole identity is that you don't just lose the job. You lose the structure, the purpose, the answer to what do you do? You lose the version of yourself you spent years building, and you're left standing there with no idea who you are without it. I spent the first 2 weeks on my couch, not depressed exactly, just frozen, staring at my phone, refreshing emails that weren't coming, feeling like I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. My small savings were draining. My family thought I was having a breakdown, and maybe I was, but I couldn't go back. I knew that much. Then one morning, I woke up at 5 a.m., not because of an alarm, just because. And instead of rolling over and trying to fall back asleep like I normally would, I got up, put on shoes, and went for a walk. No destination, no plan, just walked. And I ended up at this park near my apartment, a place I'd driven past hundreds of times but never actually visited. It was empty, just me and the birds and the early light cutting through the trees. I sat down on this weathered wooden bench, and that's when I saw it, carved into the armrest, rough letters probably done with a pocket knife. These words, your life, yourself first. I don't know why, but I started crying. Not sad crying, just release. Like something had been holding my chest tight for years and finally let go. Because I realized in that moment, I hadn't done anything for myself in so long. Everything I'd done for the past 6 years, maybe longer, was for someone else. For my boss, for my parents, for the version of me I thought I needed to become. But none of it was for me, true me. None of it was because I actually wanted it. We're taught from childhood that being selfish is one of the worst things you can be. Share your toys, think of others, don't be greedy, put yourself last. And those aren't bad lessons necessarily. But somewhere along the way we took it too far. We started believing that doing anything for ourselves, wanting things, setting boundaries, prioritizing our own happiness, was selfish. And selfish was bad. So we learned to suppress it, to feel guilty every time we chose ourselves. Like we were committing some moral crime by not constantly sacrificing for everyone else. But here's what nobody tells you. Being selfish isn't the same as being cruel. Choosing yourself doesn't mean abandoning everyone else. It just means you stop abandoning you. And somewhere in those 6 years at that job, I'd completely abandoned myself. I'd become so focused on being the person everyone else needed me to be that I forgot I was allowed to need things too. I sat there for an hour, maybe longer, just thinking. And I started making a list in my head. Not a career plan, not goals, just things I used to love that I'd abandoned because they didn't serve a purpose. Things I did before I got serious about life. I used to play piano. Stopped because I wasn't going to be a musician, so what was the point? I used to write stories. Stopped because they weren't good enough to publish. I used to cook elaborate meals just to see if I could. Stopped because it was faster to order food. All these small pieces of myself I'd killed off because they didn't fit into the productive, ambitious person I was supposed to be. That bench became my spot. I started going there every morning, and slowly, I started doing those things again. I found a cheap keyboard on Facebook Marketplace. Spent an hour every afternoon just playing. Badly. But it didn't matter. I started writing again. Stupid, pointless stories that nobody would read. And I cooked. Tried recipes that took hours and turned out mediocre. But I was doing them because I wanted to, not because they served some larger purpose, just because they made me feel like myself again. And something weird happened. The more I did things for myself, the less anxious I felt about not having a plan. The terror of what's next started fading, because I was filling my days with things that mattered to me, even if they didn't matter to anyone else. I'm still not back to normal by most people's standards. I'm doing freelance work now, making less money, living smaller, and people still look at me like I threw my life away. But here's what they don't see. I'm happier than I've been in years, because I'm living for me, not for the resume, not for the next promotion, not for the version of myself I thought I needed to become. Just me, the person who likes playing piano at 6 a.m., who writes stories nobody reads, who spends 3 hours making a meal that gets eaten in 15 minutes. That person is worth living for. People called me selfish when I quit. They didn't say it directly, but I could feel it. Must be nice to just walk away from your responsibilities. Some of us don't have that luxury, and maybe they're right. Maybe I am selfish. But you know what? I'm okay with that now. Because the alternative, spending the rest of my life performing for other people's approval while slowly dying inside, that's not noble. That's just slow suicide with good manners. Being selfish isn't about screwing people over or refusing to care about anyone. It's about refusing to let yourself disappear. It's about saying, my life matters too. My happiness counts. My dreams are worth pursuing even if they don't benefit anyone else. And if that makes me selfish, fine. I'd rather be selfish and alive than selfless and empty. I don't know what you gave up. What pieces of yourself you traded for productivity or approval or the plan. But I think you should take them back. Not because they're going to lead somewhere. Not because they'll make you money or impress people. Just because they're yours. And you deserve to exist as more than a worker. More than a role. More than someone else's expectation. Whatever it is, whatever thing you loved before you decided it wasn't practical, do it again. Do it badly. Do it for no reason except that it makes you feel alive. Do it for yourself. Live for yourself. Because nobody else is going to do it for you. And a life spent making everyone else happy while you disappear? That's not selflessness. That's just sad. So be selfish, unapologetically. You've earned it. And that bench was right. In the end, that's the only thing that actually matters.